Also, taking a look at a little bit of politics that's taking shape in the national capital between the Lieutenant Governor, Vinay Saxena, and Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. This in terms of the battle for control of the national capital. Now that Supreme Court has, they were talking about legislative action. They said they're going to think about it, talk about it, but now it has been referred to a larger bench. It's a 5-judge Supreme Court bench. The Supreme Court on Thursday referred the Delhi government's plea challenging the constitutional validity of the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Ordinance 2023, something that has been is slated to be tabled inside the Parliament as well.
Let me just bring out some the aspect of this entire thing. Okay, in the reference order that is from the SC, why they have referred it to a larger bench
from the 3-judge bench earlier.
From the judge bench. What they are trying to say is this: that the court noted that the power of the Parliament to enact a law granted the centre executive power over services is not in contention. So that is not the question of whether the Parliament can enact a law is not the contention. But however, this court, while deciding the constitutional validity of the 2023 ordinance, must decide if the exercise of such a power is valid. So the power of legislating is not the contention, but is it valid in context of trying to take over the state bureaucracy as AAP claims, or whether it can supersede already an existing legislature and appropriate those powers. That is in question.
Arvind Kejriwal has been successful in getting his way with the Congress party.
Yeah.
He says, I'll come to you, I'll come to you, but the Congress has to support me when it comes to the Delhi amendment, the ordinance bill in the Parliament and the floor of the House, especially the Rajya Sabha.
But there's also one small information on that as well. SE says it will appoint interim DERC chief after there was no consensus. So the Supreme Court on Thursday said it will appoint a temporary chairperson for the...
This is why the Supreme Court came in. They said, do whatever, we need a DERC chief like immediately. A 3-judge bench presided by the Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, said that there is an apparent conflict between 2 clauses of Article 239AA on the nature of law-making power vis-a-vis NCTD's constitutional structure of governance, and it needs to be resolved by this court. Explaining this, the bench, also comprising Justices P.S. Narasimha and Manoj Mishra, said a primary reading of Article 239AA, Clause 7, Part A, indicates that the law shall not alter the existing constitutional structure envisaged for the NCTD in Article 239AA. It has been moved to a larger bench because, well, of course, it is of grave significance.
It will in fact define about... I was saying,
essentially, who controls Delhi?
Who controls Delhi? Because
we were talking about how Arvind Kejriwal is now the boss of Delhi, and instantly the ordinance
comes. But that's what I was trying to say. Delhi has to be defined, and I think a lot of these things are going to define Delhi as a full state or not. And if it's coming through the court, then probably the court will define Delhi being a full state and NCR, because it is a very different creature. It's not a full state. At the same time, it's got the resemblances of a full state. And being an NCR area, you have its own local assembly and other things. It's not a union territory, though it's above a union territory, but just below a state. So I think the court will define, clarity requires when it comes to Delhi.
Well, all right, that's all the time we have for you, even as I'm perusing through the sports page. Great test match between England and Australia. India versus West Indies. Again, Rohit Sharma scored another 80 runs, but Gill Rahane could not really get that start. On the other hand, Zach Crawley for England, 189 in just 182 balls. England really coming back, backing their bowlers after day 1 on the 4th test of the Ashes. It seems like tests are being redefined back where it was sort of invented. Sexual harassment cast, Brij Bhushan gets bail after police don't object. So Brij Bhushan also out there in the open. Trials and error, how Indian wrestling has no real fixed selection criteria. That's another good read for our people out there.